guys, welcome back. So, this is a video I actually already did. I am trying to get to know my ring light. It's not working for me very well. So we're gonna do it like I do all my other videos, which is hopefully like there's enough light. From kind of like some of the natural light coming in to the light from my kitchen. I know there's like a little bit of a glare off my glasses, but the one with the ring light was really, really bad. So hopefully I can keep on working on it, try to figure that out. But anyway, this video is about the idea of quality versus quantity, especially with how the market is going right now. So there's a few things that I want to talk about, and this goes from video games, TV, movies, all the way to books. So this is going to be like a full discussion on kind of different avenues when it comes to this and what we like kind of look into when it comes to different things. And kind of the issues that we are kind of facing as consumers when it comes to a lot of this stuff. To me, I feel like we go from stuff is not coming out at all, like with video games, TV, and movies, to where when it comes to books are coming out way too fast. So I'm gonna start just talking about the main topic, which is books. I think, and this is to kind of look at Fourth Wing. There's been other books that have experienced, there's other authors that bring out like about 3 or 4 books a year. Now, there's kind of a couple aspects we have to think about, but with the idea of this discussion, I'm going to talk about Fourth Wing and what I've heard about Iron Flame. I haven't read it yet. I've read Fourth Wing. I have my feelings on this channel. You can watch them if you want to, but what I'm going to say is what I've heard, which is Iron Flame was not polished. So pretty much what happened is we heard about Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was going, like, hype. I think it still is. And then what happened is Iron Flame came out 6 months later. I think it was something like that. And I just do not think that's long enough. Even if you have an author that gives you 2 books in a series, that's still not a long time. Because unless you have 2 different editors, which I don't really think you should, especially if you're beta reading. Now, if you're alpha, which is just line by line going through like grammar and spelling and all that, okay, whatever, because you're just going to, you don't need to know the story very well when you're doing that. You just spelling grammar. But for beta readers, you definitely want the same beta readers for your first book than your second. Based off of what I know about beta reading, because obviously you want somebody that knows your material, knows your characters, knows what's going on. And when I'm hearing about Iron Flame is it's not published, I'm not surprised. Because I feel like we should have a year between books, at least. Now, does it get a little crazy when we talk about some authors? Yes, we're not talking about them. There's other discussions about authors that just are not producing within a timely manner. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about authors that are just constantly bringing stuff into the forefront. Now, is every book that an author writes going to be 5 out of 5 stars? No. And I think the idea, too, is that Iron Flame is a second book. Second books, naturally speaking, not talking about every single book out there, because there's been some second books I've liked over or I think fit the same quality or whatever. There's been some second, but normally you have second book syndrome, which is like you're going from the first book, you're kind of slowing down the first book, you're closing that story, and then you're kind of piquing everybody's interest for the rest of the series. That's where trilogies really shine because sorry. Because second book can do that, and then usually the rest of the story, rest of the series, like the third book's usually really fantastic. But when it comes to five book series, like you're just gonna have your kind of your ups and downs, is what I've noticed within the writing sphere. Sorry, guys. Um, so when it comes to that, no, I think we need a year between books, at least. I know, like, there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm gonna forget stuff and this and that. There's plenty of people on YouTube that summarize a lot of these books. Like, there's also, you can wait to read, like, the first one if you're, a little bit closer to the second one. You can take notes. Like, if that's like the argument of why people think that books should come out like back to back like this, there's solutions. Do I personally? I do not personally think so. I think if a second book, and if it wasn't like like if it wasn't an indie that they're just bringing into the forefront, um, especially if it was a polished indie and they already have like 5 or 6 books written and you're just polishing it up, then yes. But if you're talking about somebody that's doing traditionally published work, the second book should take about a year, maybe even a year and a half to 2 to come out. Like, I think that's really okay. I think authors shouldn't be forced to bring out 4 or 5 books a year. I think that's a little ridiculous to ask. Like Stephen King, which is one of the major authors that are always bringing stuff out, 1 book a year. Brandon Sanderson, unless you're talking about his secret projects, but normally maybe 1 to 2 books a year. I think this last year we got Winds of Truth, but I think he also brought out a picture book. Well, he brought out a picture book, guys. Like, it's not that deep. It's not like he brought out like 2 novels during the same year, and I don't think he has. I think he's always, and maybe he brought out the last of his Skylander. I think that's like his team book. Like, probably stuff he's been working on all the way through, but like we're also getting a lot of people saying that Winds of Truth book was not that great, and it's not his best well written. I haven't even touched the Stormlight Archive series, so I couldn't tell you. But that's what I've been kind of hearing online, that it was kind of a disappointed release. No, I also think because it's an end of an arc, a beginning of a new one, it could have that second book syndrome. But we're not going to talk about that until I read it. But like, to me, based off of what everybody says, I loved Mistborn. I just finished Mistborn. I'm going into the second arc of it. I feel like his quality got better and better and better with what he was writing. And I think when you give an author like a year and a half to 2 years per book, I think you see that progression a lot more than if you rush it. Now, I get it. Like, you forget things. Like, most normal people at least have like 4 or 5 series going, especially if you're big fantasy. I know romance has gotten really into the big series writing. So we as a consumer like are reading like way too much, like too much to keep up with what's going on in these books. Now, that being said, I really wish they would have like a previously on like they do in TV shows. The TV shows sometimes get obnoxious, especially if you're binge watching them. Um, but like give us a summary. Just give us like a quick summary. Like Jimmy, this is everything that Jimmy did. In the first book, and that still amps it up. And I think a lot of things, and this is kind of where I'm going to be getting into video games and stuff because they take a lot longer. Is I think these editors and stuff are worried about hype and the hype dying for these books. I don't like I know these Fourth Wing girlies like are biting hand and foot for this next book. Like once that book comes out, they're getting their hands on it like right when it comes out. I'm not one of them, but like so I think the hype is the wait for it and the hope that the next book is just as good as the one previous. I'm just not hearing like Fourth Wing kind of scares me a little bit. Like I didn't get the third one, I just got the second one with its idea of are these books coming out too fast? And that's kind of where I kind of came up with this idea after reading Fourth Wing. Like there was I don't know. Like I just felt like there was something missing that after reading Sarah J. Maas, which is, you know, a really another big, huge fantasy romance author, like what does she do that is like that puts her as a pillar still? I love ACOTAR. I just like I eat it up. It's such a good time. I don't know what I think I have 2 books left. And her Christmas one was something else, but like what does she do, cuz she had a lot of books back to back too. What does she do differently? And I think it's just timing. Like I think maybe once she just knows how to write a book and she can just have that natural talent. Maybe she just speaks to me at a level, I don't know. But I think a year between books is fair for most authors. Now, we are now reaching everything else. So, obviously we had the writer's strike for TV and movie. So, and then COVID and everything else. So, a lot of what I'm going to say does add this too, but I am almost thinking I want quality. I don't need quantity, but when it comes to some things, it's like, can we just where's it at? Like, and I think it's just where we're at in like people announcing things. Square Enix, for example, is notorious to say, okay, this game is coming out. Yes, I'm going to mention Kingdom Hearts 4 is coming out blank. Okay, so we know it's coming. We still don't know when. It's been in the stratosphere for over 1,000 days. And we don't know anything. Now, is that on Square Enix to announce it a little bit later? Yes. I think you should not be announcing a game or a TV show until it's like official. Like you're going to be releasing it within that year or the next year. Like you should not be announcing anything prior to that. I think some video games like because we got Witcher recently. I guess there's a new Witcher game. Who knows when we're going to get that? I'm going to be guessing 2027, 2028, but that's just me. But when it comes to like TV shows and stuff, it's it's hard because like we had COVID. That really affected a lot of things, especially live action. I don't know how it cuz we were still getting like One Piece and stuff like on a regular basis. So I guess anime wasn't affected. Like I guess they were all doing it through their house. Like and I guess it wasn't affected. And we were still getting like the English thing. So I guess like anime wise, a lot of things were not affected by COVID. And because it's anime manga, like it's Japan, so they weren't affected by the writer strike. I think what really holds it back is animation has gotten crazy. Animation like used to be like a little bit of a simpler thing. I don't know, like it's so hard because it's like you watch like how they used to make the old Disney films, which were so good. Like I will go back to the 90s Disney, okay? Anytime. Anybody that wants to start bringing that quality of Disney back, I will drop everything and start watching Disney movies again if they could bring back that quality. Um and I think they're suffering from quantity, like with the I almost said Starbucks, Star Wars stuff and the Marvel. Like it's just getting too saturated. And then it's like you're losing the quality of the product because you're bringing out way too much, and it's like they are bringing out the live actions of these movies. Like they're not gonna be good. Like I was so impressed with the Jungle Book. Like to me, because it was such a new thing, so I think they really focused on the quality of that film. Like they really wanted to make sure like it was a good quality film. Like the CGI was fantastic. The way that they handled the story was fantastic. What they added, the acting, the voiceovers, all that was really well done, and you could tell from each live action the quality just went down, down, down. And now we have Snow White, which is considered like one of the worst live action films, and it beat Dragon Ball. That's where we're at when it comes to quality of live action Disney movies. And I feel the same way with like the new Star Wars. Like they missed the mark on Star Wars. Marvel I've never been attached to enough to like get what new Marvel, like old Marvel and new Marvel was like, minus like some of the X-Men movies, which I thought were really dark. X-Men to me were really dark films with a little bit of humor. Where it seems like new Marvel, which I'm talking about like the first Iron Man, very light with a little bit of darkness. So it's like it's very flip-flopped. And I know X-Men's kind of like it's still its own identity, even though it is Marvel. But I think they need to go back to that. I think they need to switch it back. But because it is Disney, we're probably not gonna get that. And I feel like we have so many properties between Marvel and DC. Why are we doing the same thing over and over again? But that's another story for another day. Um so what can we do about this? Obviously come up with new ideas. Like it's not hard for somebody to like look at the biggest book series and try to make something out of it. Like there is some books that are going to be harder than others. Like I think like as much as people want Mistborn and Brandon Sanderson, I think they're going to be really hard books to like adapt. But you also have the Red Rising series, where yes, it's in space, but I think they have a good grasp, especially after Dune. I think Red Rising would be so much easier than Dune. So I think we have that concept. Now let's expand it and let other things shine. So like Red Rising would be kind of a good like book series to pick up because Dune's so big right now. So I think that would be like another good, if you like Dune, you'll like, you'll like this series. It would probably have to be like a TV series. I don't know if they could do it all in movies. I think probably the first 3 of them, but Lightbringer's kind of thick, so I don't know if they would cut that down like 2 movies. I don't know. But there's like Lies of Locke-Lamora, which it says like you don't have magic, but like I know you have sets for it. Like, and I know you have like it would be like the clothing and the sets that would be the difficult part. But I know you have sets. Like you could easily make a Lies of Locke-Lamora film. And everybody forgets about animation. Like, I think a lot of this stuff could be utilized in animation very simply. So, and I know it would take a while if we are expecting animation. It's just the end all be all. Animation just takes a lot longer. But at the same time, you could just get voice actors, and stuff like that. Do something similar. Like, do something simple. Pick up, like, The Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson instead of, like, picking up Mistborn. Like, I think we have stuff that that people can pick up and probably make really good movies out of. And that would up the quantity because I'm talking, these are big series. So if they picked it up, it was successful. We have the quantity right there. And we have the quality. And it's something new. I think that's where Hollywood is kind of dying, is the fact that you're not bringing out anything new. Like, we are getting a new Wuthering Heights movie. We don't need a new Wuthering Heights movie. Like, I bet it's Maggie Robbie. I don't think I'm saying her name right. But she's playing Kathy, so it could be good, but we don't need another Wuthering Heights. It's like we don't need another Jane Eyre. We don't need another Emma. We don't need another Pride and Prejudice. And I think that's kind of where quality goes down, is when you're taking all these old concepts and recycling them over and over and over again. So if you take a new concept that has the quantity, you're naturally going to get the quality, especially if it's a good product. So if somebody is like, I want to make a Red Rising show, quality's there, quantity's there. So that's where we're kind of at when it comes to this. Like, we need to slow down the rate that we're getting books, but we need to speed up the process that we're getting all this other material. Because if, in all honesty, if it's going to take like an anime like 3 or 4 years for me to get another season, I'm going to forget about it. Like, I'm going to totally be watching something else. And I think that's kind of my problem too with like how series are going. It's like, I wait until they end and then I'll binge them. Because I'm not waiting 3 or 4 years for another season of something just to find out how it's going to end. Like, we used to have seasons of television. Like, you would have like your winter, which would go until summer, and then we would have a break during summer. We would have repeats. And then things would be coming back in the fall. So you would have to wait maybe for another next season or another part, maybe about 3 or 4 months. Which I think for television this is the thing. because I kind of think of like when like Game of Thrones changed, like the cable companies changed how we look at television. But when it came to like Friends and Seinfeld and all those, like 3 or 4 months, like they could kick something up. Like Buffy was the same way. Like they were constantly, like I don't know if Buffy ever got a break. Now I wasn't watching Buffy or Angel like when it came out. I was watching reruns, but like 3 or 4 months, because some of it's already filmed. But that gives them time to like edit and stuff like that the second half. And I guess that's enough time, because to me, like, it's kind of hard to justify waiting for these shows, because you wait like a year or two and then you're getting 8 episodes. And you're just hoping as a consumer that those 8 episodes are fantastic. And that they're giving you enough time. Like, of course, episode length is extended and stuff like that. Like, we have to put that in, But I don't know. And I feel like we're overusing franchises. Like, we have Star Wars, we have Marvel, we have DC. Of course, DC hasn't really brought out anything TV show wise for a while. We had the big CW splurge, which I loved. We have, Harry Potter still. Like, we have all these franchises that they're just trying to, like, pretty much run dry. And it's just not working anymore. We need something new. Like, quality is going down the hill, because, like, nobody wants to see, like, and I'm not talking about fanboys and girls. Like, House of the Dragon is not as good as Game of Thrones. Like, and I've only seen the first season, and I can already tell you it's not as good. It's like Rings of Power is not going to match Percy Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Like, it's just not, like, and I think it was timing of these shows too. Like, I think people wanted the next fantasy epic. So Game of Thrones came up on the scene and was like, here I am. And then it but it couldn't keep it up because they lost their source material. But everything after that was just like not the same. Like the Wheel of Time show. Like, people have pointed out how there's some CGI problems in that show, and that was made in this century. Like, we're not talking 90s CGI. We're talking 2024 CGI, and we're still having problems. Like, and then I'm like, okay, did they not have enough time? Like, what's going on? I'm like, that's where they ran out of budget, right there. But that's just like kind of my thoughts. If you have any thoughts below on this whole thing, I know I've been rambling for a while. Like, list them down below, but if you like this type of content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.